Hi everyone, welcome back to Kandid Koffee. We are here at Urartu Cafe once again for my favorite coffee, and I'm here with someone very special, Hayk Saryan. Thank you for joining me. This was long overdue. You're welcome. I came across your page because a lot of other people whom I know were getting their teeth whitened, and I was like, okay, great, I'm gonna go do it because I'm all about the maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
And
not that you really need it, honestly.
Yeah, well, that's why I don't need it, because I'm constantly whitening, you know, every 6 months or so. And so I was extremely surprised, pleasantly surprised to find such an incredible person like you that I can talk to while this whole thing was happening. And as you started telling me the backstory behind the bright spot and your dreams and aspirations and your inspiration, I was just in awe, and quickly I was in tears, and then more smiles. So that was a grand introduction. Please tell us, first of all, how does it feel to be here now talking about it, and then your biggest inspiration for this big project you have going on.
So I guess first of all, I have to express my gratitude to you, Chris, for everything that you do and how you found your voice and your way to sort of help Armenia through what you love, and I think it's just incredible, and
Thank you.
I'm very grateful that I found my way too. So I think that's one of the most important things I kind of want to talk about today is every Armenian sort of being able to use their own talents, their own position and situation in life to progress Armenia and their Armenianness in multiple different ways. We'll get into all that later, I'm sure. So the bright spot is basically my teeth whitening boutique. My folks are dentists, and so I do whitening out of there. I started that right after COVID, or right before COVID started. So it was a little rough at the beginning. Things started picking up, and obviously due to COVID, I couldn't go to Armenia over the summer, which is what I usually do. And then in September, I want to say around the 18th or 19th, it sounds ridiculous, and you know, it's actually not that ridiculous, because when you ask other people who were in the same position as me, we find that we've all had the same experience. So I had a dream on the 18th and 19th of being in Armenia, and I don't recall the details per se, but something in that dream made me instinctively buy a ticket to Armenia, and within a few days I was there. So I landed there on September 25th, so 2 days before the war started. I went thinking I'm just going to go for a nice trip, right?
What do you usually do when you go to Armenia?
I have a lot of family there, so usually family. I've never really done like humanitarian stuff, although like I'm a very humanitarian person in general, but in Armenia, like, you know how it is, 2 weeks isn't enough, 2 months isn't enough. Like you go and then it's one relative after the other. So that's what I thought I was going to do for the main part. Travel, I'm a big hiking fan, a big nature fan, so I've been all over Armenia, I've been all over Artsakh, like that's just sort of my thing, right? And so the 27th, early morning, I was doing just that. I was hiking up this beautiful, beautiful mountain, Ajdahak. It's near Sevan, sort of. And so when we were up there, our cell phones weren't working. We didn't have reception. And there was a guy with us who was flying a Delta. They call it a deltaplane. It's like one of those gliders, right?
Yeah.
The hand gliders. So he brought it, like he luggaged it all the way up. It was like a 6-hour hike.
Wow.
And he had a radio with him.
Hike on a hike.
Exactly. Hike on a hike. Nice. So we're all there. We're having an amazing time, right? And then he gets a radio call saying, there's fighting. Don't fly. It's a no-fly zone. Something like that.
Wow.
And so we're all confused, like, oh, fighting, what? And so we go down and we drive into Yerevan, and obviously the city is just going crazy. Everybody's driving. Everybody's like figuring something out. Like the whole city just flipped on into action mode and stayed on action mode until the end of the war. It was like that day and night, like all over the place. Anywhere you looked on the streets, people were collecting, I don't know, food, socks, whatever, you name it, anything they could to pack it up and send it. Was it instant
panic in the very beginning?
No, it wasn't panic. It was expected. I noticed that a lot of people, it's like, oh, this again. Oh, we're doing this again. Okay, it's this generation's turn. We know how this goes. We know what to do. So for me being, like, my name's Hayk, you know what I mean? Like, let's just start there. My name's Hayk, and I consider myself a very strong Armenian, but...
You're very patriotic.
Absolutely. I mean, I love my country, I love my people, but I was in no way prepared for that. I was, you know, raised here pretty much, so...
I think one of the first things I said to you after I found out how young you are is how incredibly kopfats you are, how intelligent and knowledgeable you are about a lot of what's been going on in the last 30 years, even though you're like probably less than that in your age. Yeah. But, and you're extremely genuinely patriotic, and just your heart bleeds for everyone that you've seen and haven't seen. So I understand your drive for wanting to do this and pursuing it even further. I really admire that about you, and I saw that right away.
Thank you. Thank you.
So before I start crying, please continue.
Yeah, sorry. Where was I? It's just so much, you know, like all those stories.
This again.
And I feel like this again. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you were saying. This again, and it's our generation's turn. Yeah.
And the first place I went to was my uncle's house, and he grabbed me and he's like, "Where have you been?" Like, I've been looking. He had no idea I went hiking. I went with like my friends and stuff. So where have you been? I called every Vayankamat. Vayankamat is like the military station where people go to sign up as volunteers. To
Oh
get
my
drafted.
God, he got that far to call them?
My uncle was in Spetsnaz,
Yeah.
so he called all of them and said, the ones in Yerevan at least. He called them and he said, "Here's his picture. If you see him, shoot him in the foot and bring him to my house."
Okay.
Which is like probably the same thing after experiencing everything I've experienced. I don't know. Is it the same thing I would do or what? Not whatever. Long story short, that happened, and he made me promise not to try to go and fight. I'm actually gonna say it on air that I tried to anyway. They can be mad at me now. It's okay.
After the fact.
After the fact. So while I was in Yerevan, first night was just sleeplessness. I talked with my uncle for hours. He told me the stories of like, you know, the last war and what's to be expected and how this usually goes. He sort of gave me a plan. He's like, "This is how it happens."
Yeah.
You know? He taught me some of the terminology, which was like the first thing that I wanted to know, right? Because before jumping into a situation like that, you need to know like the Russian terms for different things, the Armenian terms for different things, which we've never heard of here, you know? It's
Right,
like
no
unheard
clue.
of. What to be careful of, so on and so forth. And on the 29th, me and a few of my other friends, amazing people, like you guys don't understand how incredible every volunteer was in Armenia, one after the other. Like, anyway, we packed up all this stuff into vans, and we said we're gonna go drive it down. So we planned on dropping it off at Goris, which is a couple hours away from the border / Stepanakert, so on. So we didn't want to go into Artsakh. It wasn't our intention. But because of Armenia's logistics issue, the place in Goris where we were supposed to drop everything off wasn't there, or like people weren't doing it, and so we said
nobody
okay,
manning
fine.
the post.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, go to Lachin." So Lachin is like, you know where it is. It's like right into Artsakh.
All
like,
these names are resonating with me because I've heard them so many times.
Of course, yeah. So it's Goris, Lachin, Shushi, Stepanakert. So it just goes deeper and deeper, right? So we get to Goris, we're calling, nothing. But go to Lachin.
And you have boxes of stuff in a van.
2 vans full. We're going. 2 vans full. We're going. Some of the guys were going to volunteer. You know.
Yeah.
So basically, we get to Lachin, same situation, and then we're like,
Where the hell is
came here
everybody?
with all these goods.
Yeah.
You know, some of us don't want to risk our lives in the situation because the day before they blew up one of the roads, the northern road, and we're going off the southern road. So like at any moment, you know, it's one of those situations, and it's cold and just disaster situation.
Yeah.
We said we came with all this stuff. We're not leaving.
Arten,
like,
it's
we need
cold.
to
Is
know.
this still in September?
Yeah, this is September 29th.
Wow.
So in Artsakh especially. So the roads, especially towards the evening,
Yeah,
kind
it
of chilly.
gets cold. Okay.
So we're there, we're blasting like Hayden Asirakam music, System of a Down, whatever it is, just to get there, just to like give us this thing, like we're in Artsakh right now. And I had the most interesting feeling, Chris, when we drove in. I've been to Artsakh a few times. That feeling of going in, like initially you think I'm going into a war zone, so I should be afraid.
Yes.
None of us felt any fear. It's like, this is us, this is ours. You know, like you get that feeling. I have no right to be afraid on my own land. That was the sensation. It brought tears to all of our eyes.
Yeah.
We get to Stepanakert. We help the guys take off the goods from the cars, and you know, some of them went to Gamavora Gurvel to volunteer as fighters. To all of us, they said no, believe it or not, because there were so many.
Because you guys were from America, or just because?
Well, me, because I was from America.
Right.
They said, like, forget about it. You're not even supposed to be in Artsakh. Get out of here while you can. For the rest of them, it was like if you really want to go fight, you have to go do this and do that and talk to those people, and like you have to do it the right way. You can't just show up in Artsakh and go fight. So they were trying to like have it sort of organized, but there were lines out the door, Chris, of guys just like ready to go.
Wow. What were their age groups of, do you know?
All over, yeah. Age group, profession, like you name it, all over the place. Where we dropped off all the food, there was like a storage area hidden away under like this bunker thing so that they couldn't drone it. When we went there, the workers there were Yerevan students, guys.
Wow.
Like 21 years old or whatever. They came back from the military, are back in school, and so they decided to go volunteer, and they rejected them, and they said, you know, we don't need you right now. And they said, we're not going anywhere. At the very least, we could at least go to the storage unit and help.
Help, of course, yeah. I feel like that's what everyone who couldn't go directly to a war zone did.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, it's an incredible task. You don't literally have to have a helmet and a bulletproof vest and be dodging bullets literally, or drones or whatever, to be saving lives. I think everyone, and you're not the first person I talked to directly at the premiere, and also via Instagram. I did talk to a guy named Gev, and then the other guy that was on the red carpet who said was in the movie. He also told me what like
yeah.
And if you don't go, I'm not going to say anything bad at all. We have lives, we have people we need to take care of. But if you do go and you're from here, I understand that yearning, that desire to do something, to feel of some help while you're there. What you have to, like what I hear from people is I feel absolutely crippled if I don't. Like I feel completely helpless if I don't at least try to go over there.
I can only imagine what the diaspora was feeling in that moment. That was my pain. Because I knew that my parents were suffering so bad here, and everybody was suffering. And there was this common joke in the time period where, you know, war's going on, and the happiest people are the soldiers.
They
all
are.
the time. You call them, and you complain, you're like, we don't know the news, we don't know what's going on, everyone's crying, this and that is happening. It's like, is it that bad there? Come here, it's amazing. We have coffee, we have Snickers, and we have cigarettes. Like, what more could you want?
Coffee, Snickers, and cigarettes.
Their energy, their confidence and attitude through the entire thing, even after, it's just unbeatable. It's unbeatable.
Yeah, that's amazing. I've heard that from so many people. I've seen audios and videos of what they're saying, and I really believe that even if 5 minutes after that conversation something happens and then there's an explosion and they are gone, I really believe they feel that way. Like, we're okay.
Their energy stays there, Chris.
Yeah.
Their energy stays where it is.
It's incredible. Honestly, it's incredible. I can't wait to at least go, and I mean that in a way of like, I want to see for myself. I want to document how they're feeling, because a lot of times I look at them and it's very heavy to look at them, but I know that on the flip side, if you do sit down with them and talk to them, they're going to give you some incredible
you would not believe
stories.
You would not believe.
Yeah. Okay, so let's tell our viewers what the Bright Spot offers. So I walked in, I got my teeth whitened, and you explained everything to me, and I was so happy because I'm gonna get my teeth whitened.
Yeah.
People are gonna go get their maintenance done. You know, if there was a way that I can do my nails and that some of the money can go, like, trust me, like, it would be popping.
Yeah.
So, I mean, people are gonna have to do maintenance on themselves, regardless of a charity organization being there or not. But I love that you're doing this because it really gives people an incentive to help and still get something in return. So that's what I love about it. So tell us more about the Bright Spot and how that whole thing came about.
So while I was in Armenia doing what I was doing, I was there for months, right? So I obviously needed money. I needed funding to buy the things that I needed to buy, mainly, you know, bulletproof vests and different things like that.
And you were organizing this on your own while you were there, because I know there are other.
I was on my own because, you know, it's not like I was a one-man army. I had incredible people by my side. You know, my uncle, my friends, And then people who started seeing what I was doing put me in touch with other people, and we sort of like started connecting. We got a photographer, and then, you know, later on, Armenian Hero Project evolved out of that, and it was just like this incredible process.
So I spoke to Armenian Hero Project just 2 days ago.
Oh, nice.
So how are you affiliated with them?
So basically how it worked is the Azizian sisters, who are, you know, part there. I think some of them are here right now, but they're constantly going and coming, and they're sort of spearheading that project, and they're doing a great job. They came to Armenia in December, so after the war ended, when I was already heading back. So I headed back on December 10th or so, and they got there, and we found each other on social media, and, you know, we talked, and they're like, hey, like, what could we do, this and that. I was like, this is the guy you talked to, his name's Gevorg, awesome guy, and he's like way into this, right? He's just a regular dude, right? Like 2 kids, photographer. Yeah, so the sisters got there. I put them in touch with Gevorg, who's just a regular guy, 2 kids, photographer, you know, and he brought this to the equation. He was able to communicate with different commanders at different locations and get sort of lists of what they need.
Okay.
So we thought that this was a step in the right direction, like logistics-wise, right? We get to know what they need instead of just assuming, like, let's just buy a whole bunch of vests or a whole bunch of whatever. But like, little do we know, the soldiers really need, I don't know, knee pads, let's say, so that when they dive, their knees don't break or things like that. Yeah. Which again is like not my specialty whatsoever. I'm not a military guy, right? So as I was heading back, I put the Azizian sisters in touch with Gevorg, and they took it all to like a whole nother level. Instagram page, you know, another photographer to like document the stuff. They were much better with the whole like organization and PR and like posting and stuff. So they took it to like that level. I did a few more projects with them, and then I separated and started my own like Smile for Soldiers thing, because the military thing, I was just like really uncomfortable being too into that, because like I said, I'm not a professional as far as like military stuff goes. Okay. So now Smile for Soldiers, which is also another beautiful thing that sort of happened. It's one of our dentists over there who I grew really close to during the war. We did a lot of work together. Her name's Ripsima. Okay. And basically Smiles for Soldiers gives her the opportunity to go to different Zora Masner, different military bases, and do free dental work and health stuff for the soldiers. So she's there like 2-3 days a week, going to different places and just working full time.
So just so the viewers know, the money that they spend on their teeth whitening here at your Van Nuys office, by the way, we're going to give the address, is going to the dentists and also possibly nurses and things like that over there. And then what, aside from dental work, is there anything else?
Yeah, so that's just periodically, right? So the Smiles for Soldiers thing is pretty much funded for the next 6 months or so. Okay, great. Through our mutual friend. So,
okay. You can say it. It's
you
all
sure?
Right. Yeah.
I will say it with great happiness. So Chris's brother actually volunteered to cover 6 months of the expenses for Smiles for Soldiers, which gives the Bright Spot the opportunity to use its efforts in other causes. So, you know, a couple of the things that we did is we helped fund a scholarship for 2 students at AUA, right? For the past 2 months, we're raising money for COAF. And then, so it's just like thing after thing that we can sort of just use the Bright Spot to send it here, send it there, send it there, send it there. Right. And you know, it might be a little selfish because that makes me feel really good. It makes me feel that like by being away from Armenia, I'm still doing something. Of course, yeah.
But it's also going to other places as well, because when one thing is covered, you can move on to the next and the next and then go back to the original. No, absolutely. I love that, and I just hope we don't ever need first aid kits as badly as we needed them initially, but the fact that we can have these little stations where even I know lots of nurses that went like dropped everything, went over there. I know some surgeons and doctors who did so as well, and that's phenomenal. I don't know of any other country that would just leave, as you know, leave a country, go to America, go to a better country than the one before, and then leave that, and then go back there and put their lives at risk.
Exist.
It doesn't exist.
It simply doesn't.
And a lot of these nurses and doctors had wives and husbands and kids, and they were gone for months and
at risk. Some of them died.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
like,
that
I
haven't heard of too many. Maybe because I haven't wanted to pay attention to that. Yeah. But I'm sure. I mean, God, like I can't think of anything more noble. And I can't think of anybody else who's ever wanted to do that. Like, people just escape their homes, and then they're like, oh, I'm forgetting about this place. It doesn't exist to me anymore because it was so bad. I don't even want to think about it. And I was a refuge from that place, and I just don't even want to think. I can't imagine just leaving it and not ever.
When's the last time you went to Armenia?
I went in 2019, actually, December of 2019. My camera guy here connected me with a camera guy over there. His name was Gev. Nice. Gev actually left his wife and child and went. And I called him on Viber while the war was going on. He didn't pick up. I got worried. Eventually, his wife picked up. I was like, hey, please don't get upset because some random woman's calling your husband, but I'm from America. He's my camera guy that, you know.
Yeah.
She's like, I know, Christine. He's told me about you. Don't worry. He's still alive. You know, he's over there, but, you know, he's still alive last I checked. And
last I checked.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm making a joke about it, but, like, he was just a camera guy, and he left and went. And some people didn't go and some people went. I understand both of them. I understand why some people just didn't go or were escaping it. And I understand the ones that try to spearhead it, like from day one.
So one of the things I'd like to add is, at the very least in my opinion, we didn't have a lack of fighters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We had a lack of strategy. So if we had the strategy and the logistics, the more heads, the more potential, you know, we could do. But there was nobody to say, like, okay, if we have this many people, this is how we got to divide, this is what we got to do. It was very apparent that, like, that didn't exist at all.
But how could it, like, that's why we have generals and sergeants and this and that, like.
Probably the worst of the worst, honestly. Worse than the soldiers
How are
themselves.
we so blind? It just, I mean, I don't expect you to have the answers, but it's so frustrating when I think about it. I don't have the answers, and I've
dealt with that as close as somebody could. And you never get to a point where you're like, finally, this one guy knows what's up.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist. Like, the higher you climb, the worse it gets.
Yeah, the more questions you have.
Yeah.
The more unanswered questions you have as well. It's very frustrating because I see the drive in the eyes of the younger men and even the men who go there with their sons who already went through all this in the early 90s.
Yeah, generation after generation.
But to go and blindly fight with no, like, head honcho telling you what direction to fight in and no chief for these soldiers it just blows my mind. It blows my mind that it had to be that way.
I think another way that I'd like to, like, take this conversation is that it was a good lesson. It was a terrible one, but I think it's one that Armenia needed to learn in order to see themselves existing in the future. Like, didn't
we have that lesson in the early 90s with the other?
Well, we won.
Well, yeah, but we did.
We won. We got comfortable.
True.
And now, Chris, like, please don't take this the wrong way. You know, like, my heart hurts more than anybody you know for everything that's happened. But if we're talking long term for Armenia, we got to get our shit together. Like, now. You know,
yesterday,
because nobody knows how much time we have before the next war, and you better bet it's coming.
Oh yeah,
you better bet it's coming, and if we're not prepared, it's gonna be a devastating one. And we're preparing. When you go to Armenia and you start having relationships with the right people, you see that there are geniuses there working on magical things right now.
No doubt, we have the mental just brilliance. I understand that, but I feel like we have them in welders and shoemakers and hodgepodge makers and I don't know, like construction workers or
And
stonemasons. NIT?
IT.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I really hope so, Hayk, because I see the manpower that we have and in all those things I just mentioned, but I don't see it in advancements in war or strategy. I don't see it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's
It
something
could be
that
a
we
top
have
secret
to,
thing.
I hope it is. I hope there is
I
some
hope
top
it
secret
is.
wild card.
Yeah.
That's what I've been praying for. But
Yeah.
I think our top secret wild card is the next generation, honestly. Because when you go and you meet even the 18 to 20-year-olds that fought this war, like Meka Musits Harashk, honestly, genius kids, so much life, so much passion, you know, a lot of drive, things you don't see around the world in kids that age anymore.
No,
and the
they
generation
don't.
after them, I promise you, is only going to be better, smarter, and stronger. It's up to us, is the way that I see it. It's up to the diaspora to give them that opportunity to
So
in
what way? Like, honestly, I'm very inquisitive right now.
Okay, so in what way? A kid has passion in engineering, let's say, right? Some kid from the village who, you know, doesn't know anything besides what his family's been doing for however long, whatever it may be, village life, but he has a passion for engineering. And COAF is a few kilometers that way, they just opened up a hub, or Tumo opened up a hub.
Right.
And it's free, and I could go and I could
utilize
see what's up there.
my curiosity and my skills.
These kids are bored for the most part. If you give them something to do, they're gonna do it, and they're gonna do it really well. And so, you know, the kid goes to Tumo. Tumo notices that, like, this kid's coming up with some interesting stuff. That kid gets a scholarship, goes, learns, and then creates something, because we gave them that opportunity. Tumo gave them that opportunity. The diaspora, tekus, you know.
Right. No, that I agree. That's a very good example. I was really just curious, like for example, I know this sounds really basic and kind of silly, but have those kids play Call of Duty, you know? maybe it'll trigger some ideas in them and just give them a little sense of like what it's like to like play something. You know what I mean? Like we do it here all the time, and we don't think anything of it, but like it could be something that might be triggering for them in a good way. I don't know. I just think that they need to really like emphasize the whole this computer generation, like you said, with COAF, because I know they're building schools. I've talked to Sam about it extensively, and Tumo, and arts and engineering, and you know, electric and computer and everything. So that's a very good example. I think. For example, recently, just yesterday, I had posted that Samvel Karapetyan is investing almost $800 million in those such categories. So if someone like that can give us that boost in morale and boost in our ego and boost in our children by supplying such facilities for us, I think that will in return give diasporans that motivation to continue that domino effect.
Absolutely.
And to start, not to start, but to continue giving, because I know how depleted we are financially. A lot of us are, and perhaps even we might even have the money, but we're a little bit feeling depleted or hopeless because of other reasons, and we're not giving as much as we used to.
Yeah, the diaspora is broken. The diaspora is very broken. I mean, from even my family members, you know, like you hate to see it, but it is what it is, and I don't blame them for feeling broken.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they donated all that money, and it's not just about the money, you know, like they felt it, and the outcome was just so
abrupt,
nostalgic.
True,
you know?
that too.
They know what this is. They did this again back then, and they're doing it again. And it's like nothing changes, so why would it change now?
Right.
Which is where they say, here's your torch, go do whatever you want to us, right? To the next generation.
Right.
And it's like, good luck. But giving up is not something that's in Armenia's playbook, you know?
I like how you said that.
Yeah, so and another thing I want to add is I didn't lose. The Armenian people didn't lose. We did better than any country ever could have.
in such a situation.
Of course. I mean, look how long we waged the war, for starters, against, what, 3 like major countries, right? With little to nothing, and that's all heart, that's all passion. Now if we use our brains with it, we're unstoppable. It's the truth, and we will do it. I'm convinced that we're going to do it. So this was a temporary loss, a very painful one, a reminder, but also a promise. I mean, I don't think any Armenian has the right to just swallow this and move on. You can't. You have to figure out what your next step is as a human being. What's your objective in life? What are you going to do? You know, are you going to go and you're just going to make your money and buy a house in Malibu and say, okay, that's it, I'm out?
Yeah.
Like, okay, if that's the life you choose, go for it. But if we're going to win this long term, if we're going to have Armenia be safe and sustainable and grow even, we all got to be together on the same page. We really do. No more division. I don't know.
Agree.
I have a really funny story about the whole division and unified
Please,
situation.
I need a comedic break right now.
So during the war, drivers in Armenia, you're not going to believe this, drivers in Armenia would give way to one another.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is unheard of.
You hear this, Farouche?
It's unheard of.
Yeah.
No anger, no fighting. Everyone, you gotta go, you go. Like, it's fine, I'll wait.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, exactly. Once the war ended and like all this happened, forget about it. Back to old business, you know, like how things were. So if we could find a way to channel that unity and helpfulness and friendliness towards one another, because you know what the truth is? There isn't an Armenian out there that wanted to lose this war.
I know.
I don't care who it was, like, except for once you go up the ladder way too high, the question marks, right? These people that like we think are there to help us, but we don't really know what they're doing. Aside from there, everybody below, I truly believe, wants to. So the Armenian people did not lose. The Armenian soldiers did not fail.
No, I don't think we failed. I don't think they failed. I think poor planning made us fail. I think our government made us fail, and prior governments within us made us fail. I think us being pawns in the region that we're in made us fail. I think that Uncle Vlad and all our other neighbors having influence in one way or another made us fail. And whatever that may be, and I'm not a political expert, but we couldn't have made the decisions on our own. And as controversial as this is going to sound, այդ անկախությունը really չկա, որտեղ մենք շատ բաներից ենք կախված։ Շատ բաներից ենք կախված, եւ երբ որ մենք նշում ենք մեր անկախությունը, it's kind of bitter. You know, it's kind of bitter when we say անկախություն, because we are so easily manipulated and puppeted by our puppeteers. And it made a lot of and a lot of decisions were made for us. So war is never black and white, and I believe our homeland and our independence comes from our soldiers who uphold that for us as much as they have possibly been able to do.
Whenever you visit Armenia, please do me a favor and go to Yarabulur. I'm sure you're
already planning
anyway.
it. Yeah,
take a lot of tissues, but you have to go and you have to feel that energy, and you have to pay your respects. And I'm telling you, that is going to give you so much strength.
Really?
That is what's giving me this drive today.
I would imagine it would.
It will
crush me even
It's going
more.
to crush you.
Yeah.
Really bad. But then, like when I would go to Yarabulur all the time, at any hour of the night. Like I'd be there at 3, 4 a.m. sometimes.
Just walking around?
Just walking around, sitting, like just looking at the faces and letting them sort of speak to me. Like I'm an energy person, so I would just let the energy come to me, and the energy was, we're still the same people. We have the same confidence and the same fight in us, and it's here for you to grasp, you know? So here, take it, use it, and go make a difference. And our Armenians need to feel that. So I think every time somebody goes to Armenia, they gotta go.
Of course, that's no question. Just that, even out of just to pay your respects, and just to kind of ground you for a second, and humble you for a second, and to take a look around, because these are people. They were people. Their legacies are going to live on, and their memories are going to live on. I know we're talking about teeth whitening, but we're not.
We're not. Okay, let's get back to the
No, I know.
to the smiles,
you're a very good speaker, Hayk John. You're so amazing to listen to.
You're
and
easy to talk to, Christian.
Well, thank you.
That's the honesty.
And it's heavy, and you know, Varush is here. I'm looking at you. Feel it. I know. He's a good speaker, isn't he? Let's kind of come to a little bit of a wrapping up on a happier note.
Yeah.
Maybe share something with us that's a little bit more hopeful. Everything that you mentioned, everyone's going to love to hear because it's a different perspective. Mm-hmm. You're a young man coming from the diaspora and you spent all that time over there and it impacted you. So you're reflecting on that right now. So I love that because it's a great story. But maybe some plans. You're in dental school.
Absolutely.
Let's
I'm
celebrate.
not in dental school yet.
You're not? Okay.
No. I'm applying this year.
Oh,
I'm
you're
very
applying
excited.
this year. Okay.
I'm very nervous.
Okay.
But I'm also very passionate and driven, and like I want all this to happen, and I want to move forward, and I want to do big things in my life.
Do you want to stay here?
No.
You're gonna go?
Yeah.
After you're done with school?
Not after I'm done. I have a few business plans, just sort of, get things going. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But once I have like a certain situation, I'm definitely moving.
Yes.
And the plan is, as of right now, my plan is between 35 and 40, I'm out.
Okay.
So I'm going to make sure that happens because I have this other approach, is that if you're going to move to Armenia and you have these opportunities here, you have to make the best of it. You have to maximize on these opportunities, or as we say, top of hetgenas, right?
Yeah.
So that you go with strength and you have something to provide and change and so on and so forth.
So it won't deplete.
Exactly, because as a 23-year-old, no like official doctorate degree or whatever, no military knowledge, like, okay, I'll go to Armenia, but I don't want to sit around in Yerevan and do nothing. You have to have a plan. You have to have things that you want to do. So my message to like any Armenian who's sort of planning out their path and their career and whatever it may be, their life, absolutely reach the top of whatever makes you passionate. I think that's the number one thing, because if Armenians really have that drive and they really feel this, they will invest in themselves.
Right.
Invest
and in
in
return.
themselves, and that's going to return, because then you'll have something to give.
Right.
I don't
Absolutely.
know. That's how my parents
You
raised me,
are
and that's what I'm driving. So.
Very wise for saying that, and I think a lot of people your age need to put these facades and this very comfortable lifestyle that we have here aside and really understand like the magnitude of everything around us. And it's not just about America. Like America has its own set of problems, but like just but just you went back and you saw a lot that really put things into perspective for you. And I really wish a lot of younger people would humble themselves a little bit and see how good they have it here, and the amount of opportunities that that are presented to us here. The fact that you can go to a university, get an amazing education,
do something with that education.
Yeah, do something with that education. Yeah, exactly. And in return, if you don't help at least your immediate family, I'm not even talking about your country. If you don't even help your immediate family in your small community, then what good have you done? So I really think you're providing a really amazing message to younger people.
I really hope they grasp it. If they don't grasp it, I just urge all of them to go to Armenia, go to Yerevan, get out of Yerevan.
Yes.
Go see what the core Armenian being is. Who is that Gyuratsi Tatik? Or like, who are the people that fill in Armenia out
the
of
rest
Yerevan.
of it, out of
when
Yerevan.
I go to Armenia, I'm not in Yerevan.
Yeah.
I'm from Vike. My family's from Vike, so either I'm there or I'm like hiking somewhere, or I'm in, backpacking in this region or that region. Like Yerevan is, it's an old city. It's crowded, way too crowded. Everybody in Yerevan wants to be in LA. It's like that situation, and it's not what, to me at least, it's not what being Armenian's about.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. When I went this last time, you asked the question, I kind of left it halfway. But when I went this last time, aside from recording a few episodes, I went to Yerotmas, Chorotmasiv, I went to Abovyan, I went to Sahmusavank, I went to a couple of other places.
Sahmusavank is so gorgeous.
Oh, I know. I was so happy.
So
I had
gorgeous.
this much time to go. At least I went and I saw it, and I took pictures there. I know I don't look like an outdoorsy girl, but but I really love to go outside of Yerevan and just see. I haven't been to Dilijan hike. I haven't been to Gyumri. I haven't been to so many places.
If we end up in Armenia at the same time, give me a call.
Yes.
I will take you to like those very secret
little
treasures
nuggets
of Armenia. Yeah.
I know. I want
Such
that so bad. I want that so bad. Yeah. Our hope is to. My brother and I were actually talking about it. My brother still wants to very much go back. He has a yearning for it, as do I, and I have no feeling of like, oh. No, I want to go 100%. I don't feel that vatang. And it's not because I'm being ignorant about it. I just want to be there. If something happens, something happens.
Exactly.
I can't live in fear, you know?
So, no, it's our native land. We have no right to feel fear there.
Exactly, exactly. So we would like to go in the spring, April, May, June, around that time.
Nice.
Take the whole family. My grandma can finally travel and take the whole, you know?
It's gonna be a big one
with us.
It's gonna be a really
that
big
would
one.
be amazing. My kids, his kids,
nice.
You know. So it's something that I want to really soak in next time I go.
And if you ever want to spend time with the soldiers, like you were saying, in interviews and stuff like that, let me know.
Yes,
I will set it up.
I'm going to talk to veterans of Armenia, and then I'm going to talk to the one you just said. Armenian Heroes Project.
Armenian Hero Project.
Right. So again, I'll mention this as well. I'll talk to both of them, and then we'll organize something where they will tell me who to go talk to, and then we'll have maybe a handful of them that we can document their experiences. Awesome. Even some POWs, if they can, if they can talk about their experience. I would love to have it documented. Just like Emil was saying, he only had 2 on his in his documentary, but. I mean, there's so much to hear. So there's this guy named Zach who's in Switzerland.
Zach from Switzerland?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna say that. I'm telling you. He's like right here. So there's a guy. He's a comedian. His name's Zach.
Armenian?
And yes, Armenian.
Okay.
And I'll show you his page. You've probably seen him do some memes and stuff. But he had a moment of absolute epic amazingness. And he went to Van, and then he went to a couple of other places. I forgot. But one of them was Van.
In Eastern Turkey?
Yes. And
Western Armenia?
Kars.
Sorry. Kars.
Kars, yeah.
Erzurum.
And then he climbed Mount Ararat.
I saw that video. I saw the video of him on Ararat. I think I know exactly what you're talking about. On
behalf of the soldiers, to honor the soldiers.
That's phenomenal.
And I've gone hiking quite a bit. I don't know if I can handle that. I'm not saying it's Mount Everest and we're going to go die up there, but one of my dreams is to go and hike that. Cha? I feel like you would be the next person to do that.
Yeah. I definitely need to train because there's an altitude situation, right? Because like you're gonna have to go really high up, and oxygen is an issue. That's the main. Yeah, that's the main like concern when hiking that high up. But it's definitely on the bucket list.
Good.
It's something I gotta do whenever. I don't know. I have the time to sort of really use that to reflect on everything else. Where my life is right now, like I'm just so focused on becoming the person. Once I become the person and I do what I gotta do, then I could just like go put my flag and say like, I am. Like
I made it.
I did it.
Yeah, exactly. I see you doing that. You have many years to prepare for that and train and you know, be ready for that. And I think very few people will ever experience something that incredible. And I know that the energy up there and the feeling and the emotions and the is so overwhelming, but it's like you have to, if you're physically able to.
Even just looking at it, imagine climbing it.
I know. I know. So I just wanted to share that, and I'll give a shout out to Zach. I've talked to him a couple times, and to you.
That's awesome. Way to go, Zach.
Yeah.
Way to go. Right behind you.
Right. Almost. We're coming. So
it's inspiring, you know.
It's very inspiring. And it was just so moving, so incredible. I sobbed out of pride for him, and you know, so
Yeah, if Zach's ever in LA, teeth whitening on me.
Yeah, there you go. He did his part. He deserves a teeth whitening.
Absolutely, at the very least.
All right. Anything else you want to say? Closing up, we'll mention the organization you're working with, your website, your Instagram handle, how people can get in touch with you. Maybe even somebody has a great idea for you.
Yeah. Oh, that would be incredible. Yeah. So I guess one of the things is that the Bright Spot especially is very open to collaboration. That's one of my biggest things. The same thing we try to incorporate into AHP is that we like finding other Armenians that are sort of doing the same thing, right? So the inspiration behind the whole 20% goes to some Armenian cause from Bright Spot came from when I was in Armenia during the war, and Armenian businesses here were saying, come on this day, 100% of proceeds go to our soldiers, or go to this, or go to that, right? And so Armenians were just doing shopping within each other and just supporting each other and sending all that money, or like, doubling money, or doing this. And so like, why can't we all just get to the point where if it's an Armenian business, we can just assume that like this Armenian business is benefiting Armenia in this way. Yeah. It's like something small. It doesn't have to be like, I'm doing 20 because I stuck to that number and that's what works for me financially, but if somebody needs to do like 5 or 10 or whatever it is, like why not?
Of course. Absolutely. Every little bit helps, and it's something that people need. It is a luxury, but it's also sometimes a necessity for us, and honestly we spent more on shoes, so we can do that. Definitely go to Bright Spot. Coffee, it adds up, your car payments, whatever it may be. Just go get your teeth whitened. Go support. Fred was talking about this. I've said this so many times. Support your local Armenian businesses. Absolutely. I post them all the time. I mention them. So
Which is why I insisted doing the interview here.
Yes.
At like my favorite coffee shop ever.
Right. Shout out to Urartu.
Yeah.
Yeah. So support your businesses, because it circulates the money within our community. Eventually, it's going to trickle down. Some quicker than others, some more than others, but we keep it in our circle, and it really helps because
each other to the top.
We do, to the top of the mountain.
Exactly. Oh my!
See how they came full circle?
Yeah, that was a good one.
I love it.
Oh, Chris, you're something else. You're something else.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. This was a fantastic interview with Hayk. And thank you to your parents and your family and friends who've helped you get to this point.
There are so many of them.
Yeah.
So many of them whose names I'm sure they don't even want me to say, but they all know who they are. Thank you guys for everything that you did through this entire process.
Yeah.
Thank you for continuing to do it. A lot of my very, very close friends are still there, and they're still doing incredible things for Armenia. And it breaks my heart here and there, and it breaks my heart that I can't be with the ones there, especially because you don't feel fully yourself unless you're there. So thank you to you guys. I love you. I will be joining you soon.
Jono, that was so sweet. We'll end on that note. Thank you for joining us. Until next time.